Hey there, everybody. Welcome into episode 13 of Let's Talk About, with today's topic being the granddaddy of RPG series, the Rose Bowl of RPG series, if you will, for anyone who might get that reference. It's the Final Fantasy series. I've been playing this series for most of my adult life and my teenage life and my kid life. Um, I'm pretty sure I'll get into, of course, I have a lot to go over today. Um, Including my history with each game, the first entry I played, certain fond memories of certain games, and so on and so forth. I have a little notepad document handy as reference because you know me, I won't be able to stay on track without it. So, let's jump right into it here. The thumbnail here, I just found the screenshot from Google with all the Amano art, Yoshitaka Amano, um, for all the logos for all the mainline Final Fantasies 1 through 16. I will, of course, be talking about the spin offs and other entries there as well as we go along, but this will probably more so focus on just the mainline games. To start, Final Fantasy 1. This has been put on pretty much every system imaginable, Nintendo, PS1, Game Boy Advance, PSP. It's available on mobile, i.e., Android and iOS. It's on Steam. Um, yeah, you name it, it's on there more or less. I actually didn't play Final Fantasy One when it first launched because I wasn't born yet, so obvious skill issue. um, but no, I actually my first time playing Final Fantasy One was probably not until we got Final Fantasy Origins on the PS1. My brother got that, I believe, for I want to say his birthday, forever and forever ago, and I played it some. We never actually did beat either 1 or 2 on Origins. Guess we just didn't really vibe with them that much at the time. However, when I really got into Final Fantasy 1 was the GBA version, that being Dawn of Souls. I got that for Christmas of 2004, I believe. I actually remember being jealous of my younger cousin Matt. He got Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on Christmas Eve, and I got Dawn of Souls Christmas Eve, and I was like, oh man, I really wanted that. Um, Obviously, I was still very happy with Dawn of Souls, of course. I got Chain of Memories the next day on Christmas Day. Side note for that, we would always do Christmas Eve at our grandparents' house growing up. We would get presents and such from them, and the Christmas Day would be at our own family's houses, of course. We did more stuff then. So yeah, that's when I really was playing through Final Fantasy One. I still remember the very first team I used for that playthrough. It was a warrior, a thief, a red mage, and a white mage. No idea what I named them, but I absolutely loved the game and the simplicity of it there. Um, the GBA version also made things a lot easier than the NES or PS1 versions, because as before, you would only have spell charges or spell slots available to use. You can only use a certain spell so many times for like level 1, level 2, level 3, only up to 9. And you wouldn't even get that far, I don't think, for like the highest level spells unless you like super over leveled. So yeah, you really had to be careful with your spell uses there throughout dungeons, especially because there was no way to heal your MP besides resting at an inn. There were no ethers or anything like that in either version. But they changed that to just a standard MP system in the GBA version, which I liked a lot more, to be honest. They also added a lot of new content in the I forget what they were actually called. Soul of Chaos, I believe it was. Yeah, those 4 dungeons there: the Earthgift Shrine, the Hellfire Cavern, the Lifespring Grotto, and the Whisperwind Cove. And they were super, super cool, I thought, because he added stuff from the other Final Fantasies, Final Fantasies 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let me think. The Earthgift Shrine was Final Fantasy 3 related with the bosses you would fight there. You fought the Echidna, Cerberus, Ahriman, and the Two-Headed Dragon. The Hellfire Shrine, you fought the 4 Fiends. The Lifespring Grotto, you fought Omega and Shinryu. And then the Whisperwind Cove, you fought Doom Train, Ultros, Typhon, and Deathgaze. I played through that version of the game so many times using a bajillion party makeups. One of my favorites actually was probably when I used 4 red mages. I had more so two of them like balanced to be like, well, I had the 2 and 2 split really. 2 were more so physical attackers, and 2 were more so magic users, and that was a ton of fun. Um, we also, of course, love the PSP version that added even more new stuff, which I actually have never even done before. There's like a bunch of like weird, kind of like gimmicky dungeons, or like one big dungeon, but with a lot of gimmicks to it. I have not bothered to really attempt at all. Then, of course, the Pixel Remaster version, which is the most recent one. Love the art style for that there. Of course, it's what started the series. It's why it's still around today, due to the original success. So, hats off to you, Final Fantasy 1. OG Final Fantasy 2. This is such a weird entry for so many people. This, and for some people also, along with 8, are considered the black sheep of the series. 2 is 2 had a lot going for it, but it really needed more time in the oven, to say the least, with how the leveling system was just so wonky. The keyword system was just kind of there. It didn't really add much to the game. A lot of cool ideas, though, and gave us a lot of series firsts. We had the first instance of Dragoons, that being Ricard. First instance of Chocobos, which I think that was before Final Fantasy Adventure, right? I'm pretty sure it was. Because they were there in Adventure too, but I think they were here in 2 first. Also, the Ultima spell first debuted in 2, so lots of thanks for that. And the leveling system also did move on and grow into the Saga games, actually, where like whatever you do in battle dictates what levels up there. So if you use, say, a sword or a spear, you can gain experience in that and have that grow in power as you go along. Or you use a cure spell, it gets stronger as you go. If you take damage, you'll gain stamina and HP and evade and all that. Although I think the latter, you actually need to evade attacks for that to go up. It's such a weird system. And I do like it, though. But you kind of really need to have a good plan to how to go about it. So, like, at the start, you have Firion, Maria, and Guy. They're your 3 main characters you have throughout the entire game. And then a constant rotating 4th party member that can just kind of do whatever, really. I always like trying to have a plan in mind for the other 3. So, like, Firion, I generally have him just go sword and shield and white magic. Maria, I'll put her in the front row so she'll be able to gain HP more reliably or more consistently. Give her a spear and a shield because shields are just incredibly OP after so long. You get just incredible evade to be able to dodge like everything, really, which is fantastic. Let me see. Okay, that's just other stuff there. Sorry, getting sidetracked here. Guy, I would sometimes keep him on an axe, although I swap him normally to swords, usually, just because they're more consistent. Axes, as they always are, tend to be a little more inaccurate. More powerful, yes, but yeah, just a little inaccurate for my liking there. So yeah, I'd stick Guy with swords and a shield, and some magic here and there. Like, he'll get Cure as a backup healer. Spells like Aura and maybe Haste, stuff like that. But no, I keep him as just a normal frontline fighter there. It's also has a 2 has a really dark story for the time. There's just lots of death and failure and just like all sorts of loss. Like, you fail a lot throughout the game, and the Empire has the upper hand for quite a bit throughout the series. It's a very mature story for 1988 or 89? No, 88. This one came out in 87. So yeah. Yeah, it's a very hit and miss game for a lot of hit or miss game rather. I personally do like it a lot, but it's not anywhere near the top of my favorite Final Fantasies. But I do like it for what it is, of course. Final Fantasy 3. This is one I have actually not beaten yet in the mainline series. There's not many that I haven't beat, besides 11, 14, 15, and 16. So, I mean, there's, a few I haven't beat, but yeah. 3 greatly expanded on the job system of Final Fantasy 1, giving us a lot more job classes available, and also giving them their now distinct like job traits, like thieves being able. No, thieves couldn't steal then, could they? I don't think. No, they could actually. I think back then. I'm so unfamiliar with 3, I don't know for sure. But thieves can unlock doors. You have knights that can cover wounded party members. The first taste of summoners, being able to, of course, summon. So that's where we got our first taste of like Ifrit and Shiva and all them. Um, had the Dragoon job class and such. Um, and I believe 3 took a lot of good stuff from 1 and 2. And it's a pretty big game. There's multiple overworlds you have to explore in 3. Also, you get a ton of vehicles and airships, especially. You get an airship in the first, like, 4 minutes of the game, really. It blows up shortly afterwards, but that's not the point. Story is pretty generic. It's just, darkness is covering the land, so go save the crystals and, normal stuff there, really. Then, of course, even I know about this, the ever so infamous Crystal Tower, where there is an insane boss gauntlet with really no spot to heal, like no save points, really. And then Cloud of Darkness just spams Particle Beam or whatever for like 1500 or so HP, and that's literally it. There's just a massive grind from when you get there to what you need to be at to beat the game. You do get the Ninja and Sage job class, though, they are both super, super good. The Ninja can equip all weapons, including shurikens to do obscene damage. The Sage can learn every spell available. I think summons, too, can't they? Maybe. Don't quote me on that one. And I have tried to play through 3 multiple times, usually on the DS version, but I just haven't played through it in full. I'll get to it eventually. I do have it on my AYN Thor to play, so I can actually do the dual screen stuff there with my Melon DS emulator. So, yeah, that's one of many, many games in my backlog on my Thor. But, I love the Thor. You guys know that, so I'm trying to play through, like, everything at once if I can on that thing. Moving on. Final Fantasy IV. This was the first Final Fantasy I really remember playing. This would have been on the Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo. So technically the second one we got in the US, but the 4th entry overall, because they of course got 1 through 3 first and then 4. But this was the second one they localized in the US, hence Final Fantasy II. I have so many memories of this game growing up. We would rent it from a random store. I think it was inside a grocery store, I want to say, over in Greensburg, PA, close to where my grandparents lived. We would visit them all the time growing up. And that was like the only store around that had the game, I think. Because we had a video game store near us where we lived in Mount Pleasant, but I don't think they had Final Fantasy II on the SNES, not that I recall. And I always remember my brother and I could never get past Mylon at the time on Mount Ordeals, either the first battle or second one. I don't recall that, but yeah, we could just never get past him. And then I also remember the game being stolen from the store at some point, and then we weren't able to rent it anymore, and we were incredibly bummed about that. But of course, with 4, it's also been ported to like everything: Super Nintendo, PS1, Game Boy Advance, PSP, mobile. Did I say PC? Yeah, with the also the DS remake. That version also coming to Steam, and then the Pixel remaster, and they also getting a full-on sequel, The After Years, which I also have never beaten yet. It's Final Fantasy IV all over again, which I love the original 4, but it's kind of hard for me to play through just because it's like, it's just kind of doing the same stuff. It was kind of cool-ish how it came out episodically on the Wii before, but I never played that until the PSP version on the Complete Collection. Which, by the way, when that first came out, that was an insane deal. I got that from my GameStop in Mount Pleasant, PA. And I'm pretty sure when it came out, it was only $30, and you got Final Fantasy IV, and the After Years, and also a new story, The Interlude, that bridges the gap between 4 and the After Years, for only $30. That's an insanely good deal for how much you're getting out of that. Also, the GBA version added new stuff to it, new dungeons. The PSP version had the same stuff there as well. The Cave of Trials to get the other 5 party members caught up to speed, that being Edward, Palom, Porum, Sid, and Yang. Then also the Lunar Ruins, a massive 50-floor dungeon that gives you more ultimate and ultimate equipment for each character throughout their own lunar trial. That was super cool there as well. The PSP version, by the way, is still incredibly gorgeous. I was playing through that on my PS Vita, actually, a little while back. I dusted that thing off to use up again. The OLED screen on the Vita is fantastic, by the way. That needs to be said because the Vita is awesome. The Vita is life. But also, of course, have that available on my Thor to play, and it's a bigger screen than the Vita, better quality OLED as well. It just looks immaculate on that screen. The colors are so deep and rich and vibrant, and it already looks amazing on just the PSP, the base PSP as is. And I'm also actually playing through 4 right now on the OG Super Nintendo version, funnily enough, just via RetroArch, just a casual playthrough, nothing fun, no, it is fun, nothing fancy, I meant to say there. Just a good old romp through Final Fantasy IV. I can never go wrong with that. Final Fantasy V. I love the loader here, by the way. This is what I actually used to use for my episode title cards for a LP to the game way back when. I think I was going to use that. Oh, no, I did use them. That was forever ago, though. First time playing through this was actually on the PS1 version, which was the first time that we in the States got Final Fantasy V as a part of Final Fantasy Anthology on the PS1 with Final Fantasy VI. I don't recall if I beat 5 at that. No, I'm sure I did. I just don't recall when exactly. Yeah, this is back when like we were spoiled with Final Fantasy games growing up. We had like 4 on the PS1 and Super Nintendo. We had 5 and 6. We had 7. We had 8, and we had 9 within the last like 5 years apart, something like that. It was just insane. Okay, let me think. For the release dates, 5 came out on the PS1, and then for Anthology, and then I think like 3 weeks later, Final Fantasy VIII came out in '99, which is insane. But yeah, 5 has one of my favorite job systems in the entire series, right along with Tactics, because Tactics is also fucking awesome. Just side note there. Even more job classes than 3. Also letting you equip a whole other ability slot on a class there. You have your normal default one that each class gets. So yeah, you're able to have like a knight that can use white magic, or a white mage black mage combo, because red mages aren't a thing, even though they totally are. Am I a joke to you? You can have like a geomancer with like barehanded to attack more physically. You can have a ninja that can jump from the dragoon. The combinations are just damn near endless, especially come endgame. As you start mastering classes, you take the best stat growth from all of your master classes. That it goes into the freelancer class. So yeah, mastering stuff like knight and black mage and like thief and ninja and monk and all that for all the stat bonuses there. You have just an incredibly powerful character that also can equip any 2 abilities you want. So yeah, you can have like dual wield rapid fire for obscene physical damage. You can have like time magic and summon on one character, and then white and black on another character, or white and blue magic, or blue and black, or however you want to do it. End game combinations are even more staggering than like early and mid game there, when you have like a bunch of classes mastered there. Also gave us the first case of Gilgamesh, who was one of the best villains in the entire series. Battle on the Big Bridge, still one of the best tracks ever. We've heard that throughout many Final Fantasies now after 5. We heard that in 12 when he shows up during the hunt in the Elusu Mines. You fight him in the arena in 13-2, I believe. He shows up in Rebirth, I believe, as well, FF7 Rebirth. And yeah, you have different editions of his theme throughout, so he's just incredibly awesome. Also, Dissidia, he's in both games, I believe, there. Or was he only in Duodecim? I don't remember. I haven't played Dissidia in forever. But yeah, 5 also Super Nintendo originally in Japan, but then here in the States later on. I do also remember that Final Fantasy V was one of the first games to really become big in the emulation scene for getting a fan translation. That, of course, gave us Butts way back when. Also, by the way, shout out to ZSNES, if anyone remembers that. The super old school SNES emulator. I used that thing all the time when I was a kid. Playing through like Final Fantasy IV and Chrono Trigger, Super Mario RPG, all the good stuff there. Good times. Then also you got the GBA ports later on that also gave new content. 4 new job classes as well. Oracle, Cannoneer, Gladiator, and what's the undead one? I can't think of the undead one. Is the Oracle like calls like foretells the future or whatever? Cannoneer is like a physical chemist. Gladiator's super physical as well. I can't think. I can't think of the undead one, what it's called, but yeah, there are 4 new classes there that are all super cool. Um, I'm so glad I actually beat through all the new stuff in my FF5 LP from like a bajillion years ago. Because I had never done that before my own playthroughs prior. So that was fun too. I'll definitely do that again with all the new bosses there and such. Then Final Fantasy VI. This one is so many people's favorite today, and was back then, still is today. But what's so funny though, my brother and I say we both know how good 6 is, and we've both played through and beaten 6. Um, we just don't vibe with it quite as much as other entries. Like we both like 6 probably it's not really in our top 5 or maybe not even really top 10, although maybe top 10 for me. Um, but yeah, like we know how good it is. Also, I am trying to play through 6 again. I've been playing through the Pixel remaster on my Thor via Game Native. I have it downloaded. It's an Android app that lets you have access to your Steam games on Android devices there. Even though, like, I mean, could I just play it on my ROG Ally? Obviously, yes. But the thing's big and chunky, and I mean, it's super comfortable, of course. But sometimes I want to hold, like the Thor's so much lighter and more compact and like everything. So sometimes I just want to play on the Thor. So let's see, where did I leave off when I last played that? I was just chasing down Terra in Zozo. I got the first set of Magicite. So I was doing some grinding for some spells, actually. I'm on the Veld right now. Just doing AP farming with 4 times the boost for that. Also, I knew, but I never really used him much. Gao is OP as hell if you take the time to learn his rages. I have a ton of them learned right now, and he is out damaging everybody by a country mile and a half. It's ridiculous. He has obscene single target damage, multi-target magic damage. He even gets healing later on, I'm pretty sure, via one of his rages. He can just do everything, which is bonkers. But yeah, I do want to try and play through that more to actually beat the game again, to really see the story. Because people love 6 for its story and its characters, and the music too. I mean, 6 really is an incredible game. I know that. So hopefully, like, me playing through that will kind of like remind me, holy shit, this game is actually incredible, and it'll be up my list a little bit there, if not a lot of it. Then another big one, Final Fantasy VII. This is when Final Fantasy really was, like, I would say at its peak. Like, we got 6, 7, 8, and 9 within, what, like 3 years apart, I want to say. Like, we got 6. Well, 5 and 6 were together in Anthology. That's how we got them first. Although, no, Final Fantasy 3 for the SNES, obviously. So, no, that was sooner. No, that was 95, I want to say. But even still, really, getting that, and then 5, and then 7, 8, and 9 within a 5-year gap, we'll say, is pretty seriously incredible. 7 is what got people into RPGs. I mean, just flat out. People had never even heard of what an RPG was until they saw 7, until they played 7. Other companies and such wouldn't even exist without FF7, in my opinion. Like, this got so many people, even more than Final Fantasy 1 did. Because, I mean, to be fair, I mean, Final Fantasy 1 kind of saved the company, yeah. But it had nowhere near the impact and the wide reach that 7 did. 7 got so many people into RPGs that Final Fantasy 1 never did. And people, I mean, we've all seen what 7's done over the years. How much Screen says milked it, but I am all for that. Because it's seriously amazing. I mean, people say it's overrated, and I mean, some people, yeah, I can see why. But no, playing through the game, 7 is still fantastic. We have so many memorable characters from 7. Obviously, Cloud, Aerith, Sephiroth are the big 3. We've had so many 7 spin-offs with Crisis Core, Dirge, of course, getting the Advent Children movie, and then, of course, the remake series, which, by the way, I'm going to talk about the remake more as we go along. Probably just wrap that up near the the end of the video because I want to talk about part 3 of the trilogy and also FF17. Not that I have any insider info about those. I wish I did, but we'll get to that later. Um, and of course, yes, 7's also PS1, available on digital platforms. Also got the random, I guess, remaster, if you want to call it that. The new version on PC, since they took down the old one from 2013. It's pretty much the same one that's on like the Switch and all that had the in-game boosters like the 3 times battle speed, the always full HP MP, stuff like that, and no encounters always available. Just so it's like in line with the other, with like the 8 and 9 remasters essentially. Also, super cool materia system, which gives you insanely cool combos to pull off, especially in the one mod new threat that lets you, you can actually do. I'm pretty sure it's a setting actually that'll let you do 3 materia slot combos instead of just 2. So the combos you can make with that are even more insane than what you did pull Final Fantasy V. We'll put it that way. I haven't played through 7 in full for a little while, but man, I remember playing that when I first got that. It was for my 12th birthday, I recall. My friend Aaron got it for me for my birthday. We had a JVBA. This is rec basketball, essentially. Junior Viking Basketball Association, as we were the Mount Pleasant Vikings. We were on the same team, actually, and we had a game on my birthday, and he was telling me, like, hey, I got you this for your birthday. And I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. So like, I was so excited to play it after getting home from the game, because my friends, we went back home to my house after the game, and they were watching me play it for a while. And I still remember being tripped up at first with X being cancel and O being accept. Originally, you could of course change that in the controller settings, but I was so thrown off by that at first. And yeah, I've played through 7 multiple times. I'm sure I just picked up and just play that whenever. It's always a good time. Always a good time. Side note too, with the strategy that I had before, I actually used to draw a lot of the, well, not used to, I did draw a bunch of Cloud swords actually from the like pictures in the book and whatever, on the very back inside cover. So it was just a blank white. So I had permanent marker on that did kind of seep through to the other side, but it's fine. Yeah, that was really cool. I have since lost that original copy of the guide, though. I did pick up a new one sometime later and drew more swords in that later on. That's a part of our gaming shelf right now in our den. In Final Fantasy VIII, this was one of my brother's favorite entries. Actually, we got this. May have been for Christmas of 99, I believe, because it came out 9/9/99, September 9th, 1999. That's a lot of 9s. So I'm pretty sure it would have been for Christmas sometime later on. Although I don't remember playing it when he was 9 and I was 7. I would have been a little bit older, I think, and obviously he would have too. He's 2 years older than me. It's still so funny. I always remember we would play late at night, and we want to make sure to not wake our parents up, right? Because they were sleeping right down the hall. We would have to turn our TV down so low, especially when we were summoning Quetzalcoatl, because that summon sound effect was so incredibly loud. We'd have our TV on like a half tick of volume, and it'd still be so unbelievably loud. It would also always bring in, in the game, it came with the a mini strategy guide. Actually, that lets you that guides you through the first little bit of the game. I think it covers the first seed mission to get Ifrit. I think it also went over the Dalit mission, I want to say. I know for sure the first seed mission there. We would actually always bring that with us to church, funnily enough. And we would sit way in the back of the I forget what you call the actual room where service is held. It's a ceremony hall or whatever. Just you have like the main room up front there, where like the podium was up front, and the organ and all that for the choir, and then all the pews there. and then there's like a sectioned off room way in the back with some other random benches. We would just sit back there on our own. Our parents would be up front in the main part of the church. My brother and I would be in the back, and our sister would be either with us or with them. And yeah, we would just read through that manual and guide all the time. Also, Triple Triad, best card game. It is amazing. Just needs to be said there. And also, you can break the game in so many ways. Here's one way to do it. As soon as you get Siren, which you draw from Elvrit and Dalit, just get some money from your seed rank. Go to Balam. Learn Life Magic Refine first. And then buy a bunch of tents, refine this into Kiragas, and boom, you have like a bajillion HP that you just should not frankly have that early in the game. And then boom, game broken. And then of course once you get Life Magic Refine for other characters, and then really HP Junction, then Life Magic Refine, tents, Kiraga, boom, done, easy. FF8 is a very silly game with how easily you're able to break it, and I love it for that. I only actually did beat 8 for the first time. I mean, this was still quite a few years ago. And yeah, it was a great ride. I love it. Also, Laguna. I would love a prequel FF8 that we actually did to play as him more often with Heroes in War, because Laguna is an awesome character. And Man of the Machine Gun, one of the best battle themes of the entire series, to be sure. And side note, too, before moving on to Final Fantasy IX, the graphical jump, especially in the cutscenes, but the entire game as a whole, really. But the cutscene jump from 7 to 8 is incredible. Still both PS1 games, obviously. Only a 2-year gap between 7 and 8, and the jump between them is insane in the cutscenes and all that. Like, FF8 is a very good-looking game for the PS1, especially with the remaster. Then Final Fantasy IX. This is like the ultimate throwback to Final Fantasy. Came out, it was a late PS1 title, as I recall. Came out in 2000. And has throwbacks to like every single entry before, I want to say, in some shape or form. Even Final Fantasy II, I believe. Oh yeah, because the whole thing with Ramuh, getting him back as an Eidolon for Dagger. You have to retell the story of Joseph, which is from Final Fantasy II. How we went to the Snow Cavern to find the Snow Bell and all that good stuff there. FF9 is such a classic Final Fantasy. It is like the Final Fantasy. And you have your predetermined roles, like Zidane being a thief, Steiner being a knight, Vivi Black Mage, best Black Mage ever. I will hear no arguments on that. Dagger being your white mage / summoner, same with Aiko. Amaranth being your monk. Quina being your blue mage, Freya being your dragoon. You have all the classes covered there. One of the best romances ever between Zidane and Dagger as well. Being a massive 4-disc game like Final Fantasy VIII. I didn't say that, of course, for 8. I forgot to. And a lot of people say it is the best Final Fantasy. I'm not here to say which one is overall best, because I think the best one is whichever one you like the most. And I'll leave it at that. I don't recall when we got Final Fantasy IX. Probably for birthday or Christmas. That's when we normally got most of our games anyhow. Because my brother's birthday was in April. Well, still is in April 14th. Mine's January 16th. And then Christmas, of course, 3 weeks before that. So I would get double stuff there, essentially. Well, I actually will say I was kind of really spoiled for stuff back then, because I would have Christmas Eve to get stuff from family and all that. Like other relatives and such. And then Christmas Day for our own mom and dad family stuff there. And then 3 weeks later, Christmas, my birthday, I have a family party at first. I do a friend's party first on like the 15th or whatever weekend, and did stuff there. And then the family party afterwards for even more stuff there. So yeah, I would get tons of games and stuff then, which was always super, super nice. Always appreciated that. Also, I need to play through 9 again. I know it's a very slow game, especially with, steal. Oh, couldn't steal. Steal. Couldn't steal. Steal. Couldn't steal. Yeah, It's a very slow-paced game, especially with the combat there. But I would just play through it either on PC with the Modiri mod or whatever to speed things up, or just play on the PS1 with fast forward and be good to go. I'm due for that sometime there. But yeah, FF9 is an awesome game. Always will be. Then we have a big jump from PS1 to PS2 with Final Fantasy X. I don't remember when we got 10, but I do know that my dad brought it home from a Sony store, I believe, along with a PS2 memory card. And I think we already would have had our PS2 at the time. I don't know if 10 was our first game actually for the PS2. It was an early PS2 title, I know that. Um, yeah, the first one to feature voice acting, and some people say the voice acting kind of sucks. I mean, it's 2001. The voices are fine. Like I liked them a lot. Of course, a huge graphical jump from Final Fantasy IX, and the cutscenes. Oh my god, the cutscenes still to this day look incredible, even more so than Final Fantasy VIII. And this is still an early PS2 title. The cutscenes, even on actual just physical hardware way back then, still are mind blowing to me today. How good they look. Another cool, the sphere grid, which funnily enough, my brother and I always thought was so complicated reading it through the manual at first. But then it's obviously super easy. We were dumb kids back then. Give us a break. And a big mini game that we personally loved, but I know a lot of people didn't, was Blitzball. Now, for our case, we played soccer all the time growing up. He played through high school and all that. And we also played rec a bunch as well. So yeah, that was a big part of our lives back then. And Blitzball is pretty much like underwater soccer, essentially, with some rugby thrown in there too. So we both loved it. We loved going all across Spear to get the best players. Getting a super OP team, getting Walker's all of his overdrives from Blitzball along with the Celestial Weapon. We would just spend hours upon hours playing Blitzball in 10. It was so much fun. And I know a lot of people don't like it there for one reason or another, and I totally get that. But no, we just both absolutely loved Blitzball and the entire game as a whole. I'll play through it every now and then, but then after a while, I'll just like stop for whatever reason. Probably because I have another game I shift to playing just out of nowhere. But I'll play up until like the Thunder Plains or Montalania or whatever, and then just stop. Having ADHD with games sucks. Just a side note there. But yeah, we've played through 10 countless times. We have so many save files between the PC version and obviously the PS2 version. We still have some of our old PS2 memory cards around, actually. And there's still our old copy of 10, so I would love to actually load that up sometime to see what's all on there. Then yeah, the 10 also international version gave us the expert sphere grid, which I always love too. Everybody starts at the same central grid in just different spots, and you have free reign to go wherever you want from the get-go, which I always love. That was super cool. The new Dark Aeon fights that are available in the post-game, air quotes there, because it's not really a post-game, but it's kind of post-gamey, yeah. Then they had the new fight there with Penance. Now, this was all in the OG International 10 in Europe and all that, but yeah, we didn't get this in the States until its release here in the HD version. And that came out in 2013, I think, for the Vita and PS3 originally. I remember when that came out, the day it came out, I stayed home. I stayed home. I stayed awake after getting home from work. I worked night shift, actually. 10 to 6, usually, PM to AM. And I stayed awake for like however long it took to download 10 and 10.2 on my Vita, because I wanted them day one. I only did 10 first, I think, because I just could not stay awake any longer. But yeah, when I was done with that, I crashed out and went to sleep, and then downloaded 10.2 later. It was so much fun playing through 10 on that. I still remember when I did the Chocobo racing stuff there, to the Titus's Celestial, did the Khalid Bolt or whatever. No. The Sun Sigil, I believe it was, for doing the Kesher Chocobo game, where like you have to dodge all the birds and get the balloons to reduce your time to be under 0 seconds. I was so excited and happy when I actually got that I startled our then puppy Crassus. I think he was napping at the time, and I was like, Crassus, buddy, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. That was when he was just a tiny little puppy, like shortly after we got him, I think. Um, yeah, that would have been forever ago with that. Also, Vita, again, great console. 10.2 is not on here, but I'll gloss over it here real quick. Also, this video is going to be way longer than it normally is for for this series, and I'm only on Final Fantasy X-2, but that's okay. It'll speed up here, though, because I have less to say about the other entries. I haven't played them as much as the others. 10.2 my brother got for Christmas, I think in 2002 or 2003. It was also the same year I got Lunar Legend on my Game Boy Advance, and we were playing through them together. I beat Lunar Legend in like 2 days, as I played it all the time. I was on Christmas break from school then, so I had nothing else to do. And also, I love the GBA SP. I still have my silver one today. It is incredible. I've put a bajillion hours into that thing in my youth. But yeah, 10.2, super rad dress for your system. Updated take on the job system there with new classes there, new takes on classes there and such too. The story is definitely a story. I mean, it's cool. It's a sequel to Final Fantasy X, and I still like the game a good bit. I haven't played through it in a while, but I know it's not a lot of people's favorite. But I still like it for what it is. 11 and 14, I'll just skip over. I do count them as mainline games because they're just online games, but they still count as mainline games anyway. Never really played either one much. Although 11 I played a little bit on a PC forever ago. But yeah, never really got into that much. 14 I would love to actually get into for real. I know it's such a time commitment though. I know, of course, there's a free trial there and all that lets you play like so much of the game for free, and up to like level 75 now is the new cap or whatever. Someday I will get into 14 for like fully. I just have no idea when. Then Final Fantasy 12. Final Fantasy 12 is my favorite entry. I loved it in the original PS2 version. I love it to death for the Zodiac Age version. I've played through this so many times, doing power leveling stuff to get really strong equipment way earlier than you're supposed to. Zodiac 12 letting you have new job classes, being able to have 2 license boards there, tweaking what you're able to get when and where, trial mode, which lets you get obscenely OP stuff way earlier than normal. For context, stage 3 of trial mode out of 100, to clarify, you fight a whole bunch of cactites, cactoids, and the flowering cactoid itself that you fight from the hunt in the normal game, right? Items you're able to steal from enemies are different than what they are in the normal game. So the flowering cactoid, you can steal a mithril blade. Oh no, that's the uncommon steal. A long sword, a mithril blade, and the Tarkata. That is an extremely end-game weapon. It has 92 attack power. And you're able to get that within the first, like, hour of the game or so, if you're lucky. It is the rare steal from the Flowering Cactoid, so it's a 3% chance. But it's so easy to just, if you don't get it, just reload, go back to the title screen. And then the game auto-saves each time you enter a new stage. So you're just able to exit the game real quick, and then load up that auto-save at the beginning of each stage, and then just try again. It's a tedious process, yeah, just steal over and over and over again. But the Tortada is so unbelievably worth it for how strong it is. You do have to make a beeline on the license board for it for the night to get it. It takes like 1,000 some LP to do. But the fact that you're able to have a weapon with 92 attack power on like the Giza Plains in the dry season early on, you just wreck shit everywhere. And playing through the power leveling guide that I follow on GameFAQs a bunch, that alone lets you do so many more things that you really shouldn't be able to do as far as like killing enemies and such to get even more powerful equipment. It is so much fun. And I remember too with OG 12 on the PS2, um, my mom got that for me for Christmas, but we weren't. I wasn't allowed to actually play it until Christmas. She had it way sooner. I think we got it on like close to launch day, I want to say. She kept it at her house, I believe. So anytime I would go over, I would try to play it here and there. Same with my brother as well. We would actually even go so far as to like we'd have the game there, and we would bring it home with us to play. We would just like take some random other disc and whatever, and put that in the slot for where the game disc would be in the Collector's Edition. And then our mom never knew, so we would just bring home the other copy with us with the memory card there and just keep playing it. Man, we also love doing the power leveling stuff in the OG version. Getting farming the chest for the rod early on, which is more powerful than it was in Zodiac 12. Chaining werewolves for the Kotetsu. Stealing the Gladius from the Lindenberg Wolf and going from there, going through the Barheim Passage for like the Claret's Robe, Celebrant's Miter, and the Dragon Mail. Good times. Also, Ivalice in 12 is such an amazing world. I would love to live there, especially in Zodiac 12, because Zodiac 12 looks so good in HD. And then I also love the story. The characters are not as great, but I don't play 12 for the characters. I play for the gameplay because I love the gambit system and the job system in Zodiac 12. I just play through like all the time. I just love it to death. 13. I finally beat 13 for the first time not too terribly long ago on PC. I will say I cheated some. I used a trainer, which is a PC cheating program essentially, to always have full ATB gauge in battle. That made battle so much quicker and easier. I loved it. And I think I also had a match CP code. I call it a code, but a flag, whatever you want to call it. That would give you about 1,000,000 CP that would never go down. So that just made leveling a lot quicker and easier there too. So like you could say like I didn't really truly beat the game, but I don't really care. I got to the credits. That beat the game. So like to me that counts. But I still do like 13 a lot. Obviously very, very on rails for the first like 2/3 of the game. But then once you hit the Cerobi step in chapter 11, then the game opens up a lot and it gets a lot more fun. The really chapters 8 and 9 are pretty good too, because for so long before you very rarely have a 3-person party. You're always stuck with 2-person groups, and the combat just isn't as fun with only 2 people. But then yeah, when you're going through whatever airship that is with Lightning, Fane, and Hope, that's when things start getting really, really fun with a 3-person setup there. Also, the first game to be in true HD on the PS3 and 360, which, by the way, it was a multi-disc game on the 360, which I think was pretty uncommon for the time, I want to say. Still, super fun game. Also gave us 13-2 and Lightning Returns that I've never played. The latter, I've played 13-2 some. 15, we got this on launch day, I remember. We've been waiting so long for 15 to come out. We were so excited for it. Definitely needed more time in the oven there too. But I think it's a lot better now with the Royal Edition and all that. Give me 1 second. Been rambling for like almost an hour already. I needed more water. I haven't played through 15 in full. I want to, of course. Have it on PC with the full Royal Edition and all that. I know there's like crazy like HD texture packs for it there too. They're like hundreds of gigs in size, which I probably wouldn't download. I'd have to see actually how it'll run on my ROG Ally. Tried out some point there to see. I know it has some great DLC episodes with Gladio, Ignis, and Prompto. It was supposed to do more DLC, I believe. Wasn't there supposed to be a set with Aranea, the female dragoon, I think? Then an episode Arden, I think, was the last one, and that did come out, didn't it? Or was that one's supposed to come out but never did? I don't remember. But I think also 15 was kind of in dev hell for a while, which really, really sucks. But yeah, I need to play that one in full so I can actually talk about it properly there. Then 16, of course, our most recent mainline entry. We have Best Boy and Turtle. I want to try drawing Clive sometime because he's just such a cool character. I've been trying to draw more video game characters myself. You guys may recall if you follow me on BlueSky, I drew Hero a while back from Lunar 2, and I loved how that drawing came out. And that inspired me to want to draw more characters from video games that I like. So yeah, I do want to draw Clive at some point there to see how I can handle that. Um, Pretty divisive entry, I would say, for a lot of people. The game looks amazing and has some of the best boss fights in the entire series. All the Eidolon fights are they are called Eidolons. Are they icons? No, they're icons in 16, I think. Yeah. Um, oh wait, no, they are Eidolons, I think. I need to play 16. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, my brother loves 16. We got that on launch. We had the full collector's edition of that too. It's part of our gaming shelf in our den there as well. Also got some DLC episodes that were really, really good. I think we got 2 episodes of that, or 2 installments of DLC, I believe. Let's see, my God, there's still so much I haven't talked about yet. I don't want to do a part 2 of this, but I've been going for like an hour already almost, but no, I'll just keep going. And real quick, the handheld entries I want to talk about here. That being Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, Advance 2, 12 Revenant Wings, and Crisis Core. I have not played Revenant Wings. I liked Crisis Core a lot and beat that on the PSP. Actually, no, I haven't beaten it. I lied. I'm sorry. Advance 2, I really need to beat on the DS. I have it available. Haven't played through it in full. Advance 1, I absolutely love. I still have my hard copy of that on the GBA. That save file, my very first one at that, has like 300 hours put onto it, and I've done just about everything. Although it sucks, though, I think I'm permanently locked out of a handful of missions, so I can't like full clear the game and get Judge Sid, which really, really sucks. I'm at like 291 or 293 out of 300, so that kind of sucks. But I have a full clan, all on level 50, high tier job classes there in equipment. Such a great game, one of the best on the Game Boy Advance in my opinion. Also, side note here, not a handheld entry, but mainline tactics on the PS1 and PSP and all that. Also on PC now, finally. I adore that game. I got that on the PS1 way back when as well, originally. I don't recall when actually I got that game. It's probably just at random at some point. It just looked cool and it had Final Fantasy in the title. And like, hey, I want that, so we got it. So that worked out there. I also love the PSP version. I got that and the guide at the same time, I believe, from GameStop in Mount Pleasant way back when. Absolutely love the job system. The story is amazing. Super fun to play as well. I haven't played through the Evil's Chronicles yet. I will at some point, of course. I know it has amazing voice acting with Ben Starr, who is also amazing and just does everything. And he is also a huge memer. And he's also just hysterical. Let's see what else. I did all the other stuff there. I did also mention here in my notepad document favorite songs, characters, music areas. The whole soundtrack in Final Fantasy IV, really. Of note, the Red Wings theme, the Four Fiends boss music, Zeramis' theme. Those are all tracks are all amazing. Jordan Mesh's theme from Final Fantasy V. Dancing Mad from 6, One Winged Angel from 7, Man of the Machine Gun from 8, Liberi Fatali, Dark Messenger from 9, Otherworld from 10. Yeah, Final Fantasy just has a bajillion amazing tracks in every game there, really, for the most part. Not really, well, yeah, I guess to be fair, not as much in Final Fantasy 1, 2, or 3. They still have cool songs here and there, though. But yeah, 4 onwards, when the music really started getting really good with the better sound chip there and all that. Favorite characters? Cecil and Kane from 4, Gallo from 5. The Balthier from 12. Um, um, I'm sure there's more that I definitely liked a lot. Um, I just can't think of them right now. I mean, yeah, Cloud from 7, Sephiroth also. Um, Zidane from 9, Vivi from 9 also. The characters really, like, they're not what I go back to the games for, I guess. I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, I don't hate any character from the series, really. Um, I mean, yeah, I liked all of them. That's what I'm trying to say there, essentially. Yeah. Um, and yeah, favorite like areas. Um, hmm. I don't know if I call them favorites, but I definitely have like distinct memories of certain areas from the other games there. Like, we would always do so much AP farming on the Thunder Plains in Final Fantasy X. Loved doing that. Um, in Final Fantasy IV, once you got Iridia back in the underground, before going to the Tower of Babel, doing training under there with the healing pot nearby with the Dwarven Castle. Um, Always like Xanarkand from Final Fantasy X, just a cool. Even though it's so far in the past, it's like such a technologically advanced city, and it was for the time there too. Excuse me. Rabanastre from 12. I just love that capital in general. Um, and then finally, a favorite console to play them on. Really between my Thor and Ally, I can play like the entire series. So nods to them both. Um, yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd probably go the Thor actually because I can play everything on that. That I also can on the Ally and OLED and all that, and just a more comfortable form factor. Except like the big ones, like 11, 14, 15, 16, and all that. I would need the Ally for that. But yeah, for the most part, I would be playing the older games anyway, from like 12 and lower. Um, so yeah, in that case, yeah, I would go with the Thor. Although of course we played them on like everything growing up there: Super Nintendo, PS1, Game Boy Advance, PS2, the Switch with the Zodiac 12. Funnily enough, we have Zodiac 12 like a bajillion different ways. We have it on PC, we have it on Switch and PS4. Although I would think, I'm trying to think here. The entry we've bought the most over the years, probably 4 or 10, because they just been ported to everything really. Like with 4, I think I still have a DS copy of it. I know I did in the past, but I don't know if I still have it. But yeah, Super Nintendo, PS1, Game Boy Advance, PSP, DS, PC, mobile. That's 7 right there. Then 10 was PS2. Oh, yeah, also Switch for 4 as well with a Pixel Remaster, if you count that, and PC there too. Oh no, so no, but whatever. Yeah, but still Switch, yes. Then 10 Vita. I think I have a PS3 copy as well, just for collector's purposes. Um, I don't think we actually have it on PS4, not that I recall anyway. We do have it on PC and Switch though. So yeah, so 4 is the one we've bought the most. Then to get into wrapping things up here, I mentioned it earlier to talk about here. The FF7 Remake Trilogy and FF17. Um, I'm hoping we'll see part 3 here soon. A lot of people were hoping to actually see it at the Sony show or the State of Play from a little while back. The like super big hour-long one that ended up being, for us, that being my brother and I, kind of a huge letdown. Not only for not being remake part 3 teased there, there just wasn't anything there really that we were interested in for the most part. Which kind of sucks now also that we have to wait until essentially Summer Games Fest for it to maybe show up. Because it had been talked about that, I don't know if it's really official, just kind of hearsay in that they would like to have gotten part 3 actually out by January of next year, because that would be FF7's original that would be its 30th anniversary. So that would have been a really cool milestone to have the part 3 of the trilogy be out on the OG launch day there. And I mean, it could maybe still happen. I don't know. Um, Apparently, DevWorld is coming along quite well on that, and I think the game is actually fully playable from start to finish. So now they're working on polishing it and all that. They're still in UE4, I believe, because they've done so many custom things with UE4 to have it look so good with Remake and Rebirth that they haven't wanted to move on to UE5. And I forget if it's been mentioned or not. I feel like by now, probably, if they're going to be using UE4 or UE5 for Part 3. Which actually, I guess, well, I kind of already mentioned that, that they have so many tweaks to it that so they probably would still use UE4 if I had to guess. But I forget that bit for sure. But yeah, I don't know if we would see a teaser for it at Summer Game Fest, and then it would already have the release date there. Because I mean, from there until the anniversary, it'd be about 6 months out or so, 6 or 7 thereabouts. So I mean, we could get the teaser there, and it'd be like winter 27, and that could still be late January. That would be the fiscal year for Japan and all that. So that it could still happen. I would love that though, but that remains to be seen. And apparently, they do have the name chosen. They were down to 2 names before for Part 3, and they have a title confirmed. We don't know what it is, and I'm obviously we'll see that whenever it gets teased at first, whenever that may be. I haven't played through either game in full. I haven't played Rebirth at all, and Remake I have not played through in full. I have it on my Ally as well. I have the Epic Store version of it, even though I know Epic sucks. But that's where we got it originally. I have it on my Ally. So yeah, I'll play through that in full eventually. Same with Rebirth there too. Then for FF17, it's already been what, almost 3 years or so since 16. I forget when 16 came out. So you'd think we're getting into the window where we would see 17 at some point. I don't know what it would even be. My brother and I have talked about that we would love it for it to be a classic job-based system there again, because we love job-based Final Fantasy games. Tactics, 5, 12, and all that. That'd be so cool if they brought that back. I don't know what kind of world we'd have in 17. What kind of gameplay it would have, characters and all that. Obviously, we don't even know if it exists yet. When that would even be revealed at first. Because you'd think, I mean, dev cycles between games have gotten longer over the years with Final Fantasy. So I don't know if it would be maybe 2028 that we'd see 17 out in the wild. So I don't know if that would show up maybe at the Game Awards as a trailer there as a first teaser. But you also wouldn't want to reveal it so early and then still have people wait 2 more years for it to come out. That would really suck, looking at Kingdom Hearts 4. God, I don't know when we'll see that again. Maybe this year too, I don't know. Maybe Summer Game Fest 2 for that? That'd be nice to actually get a new trailer on that. Okay, that was a lot. Final Fantasy is still one of my favorite series to this day. Really was number 1 for my entire life growing up before. I will say that's been usurped by the Trail series. But yeah, I love all of these games in some way, shape, or form. I hope that the series continues to evolve in every way possible, graphically, gameplay-wise, story-wise, character-wise, all that stuff there. Can hopefully appeal to as many people as possible, because I know some people, they still wanted to stay all turn-based. People also love the action stuff there. I want Squeens to make the games they want to make at the end of the day. If they want to make turn-based, awesome. If they want to do action-based, awesome. If they want a hybrid, awesome. Just make it something that I want to play. Make the story good, have cool characters, have cool gameplay and all that, and we're good to go. I know the game will look gorgeous no matter what, so yeah, I'm not really worried about that. but just make it enticing. Is what I'm really trying to say there. You've done it so many times with past entries there, and of course the series has faltered here and there as well. All the Bravest, though that's just a crappy mobile game, but yeah. Square, I have no idea if you're watching this. Probably not, but thank you for what you do and what you have done over the years. Been a big fan throughout my like I said, my entire life. Still am today. Always will be. And before I wrap up, also one more thing here. If anyone's still watching, please let me know what your favorite entry or entries are, and anything else that I glossed over, like what your favorite well, yeah, I already said entry. What your favorite memories are from certain games, your most played ones you want to try out, and all the good stuff there. With that, I am going to go to the bathroom and go to bed. I am very tired. Probably didn't need to know the first part there, but oh well. With all of that said, guys, this has been Mr. Moosey7 signing off. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.